Hello and welcome to our final talk for the open day. And look who it is. It's my Bert and Ernie. I've had the most amazing day talking to different practitioners, different therapists, different coaches from different disciplines. And what's been so glorious is that as a kinesiologist, I've been able to understand what they're talking about, because kinesiology is such an umbrella term, and our toolbox, we work with the bees. So we work biochemically, so we work with the nutrition, we work emotionally, so we work as a coach, we work electrically. So I was able to have an amazing conversation about 5-element traditional Chinese medicine, and we work structurally, so having that conversation with the physio about how structurally and muscles and how the body works together, so the anatomy of the body. It's been a glorious day, and I finished my day with my favorite, with my Bert and Ernie, talking about what it is why it's so amazing to study kinesiology and to be a kinesiologist. So to start, like I've done with my other talks, I'm going to introduce the fabulous Claire Snowdon-Darling, who I would love you to introduce yourself, maybe give a little bit of background about how the heck you got into this fabulous career. And then I want to talk about what it is to be a kinesiologist, why after 15 years of bobbing along with this, we're still so passionate about it.
More, I think, probably more. Oh, your day sounds brilliant.
Had a great day.
Has it been interesting talking to other people other than just me for once?
It's been brilliant. I have learned some stuff. It's great to get different perspectives. Like the people that I've been talking with are just people that we have started to partner with in the industry, and we're all pulling in the same direction. We all want the same things. We all want to empower people. This was the message that came through in each of the talks. We're empowering people to take control of their health, and so I'm all goosebumpy about the whole thing.
Oh, I love it. I
love my job.
Oh, I too have spent the day immersed in kinesiology, because I've been writing our foundation course, and actually this talk is therefore beautifully timed, because I've been going right back to the beginning of where it all started. So you asked me lots of questions, and let me see if I can remember what they were. So where did I start? My name is Snowdon-Darling.
I come from.
I am the founder of Balance Wellness, which you decided my job looked nice, and so therefore, asked if you could join me, and I was delighted to have you. And in between us, we created Functional Kinesiology and the College of Functional Wellness. And I started this training in 2007. And do you know what's really interesting? I've been really reflecting, because of the fact that we're, writing another course right now, and we're going right back to the basics, which is unusual for us. I've been really reflecting on that beginning, because when I got into this, I actually originally trained in theatre and specialised in learning disability and mental health care, which is really interesting actually, because there is so many similarities between the work that we do now when I actually draw a line through it. So a big part of my job in mental health care was actually learning people's non-verbal communication signals, which is something that we teach. And I just love that. But I got really, really ill when I had my daughter in 2004. We both nearly died. And I myself ended up with mental health issues, oh the irony, and very, very bad depression and postpartum psychosis. And I just could not function running a charity and working with people, some of them with some quite special needs. I just did not have the bandwidth and have a small child and continue in this very, very stressful work. And all I knew was that I wanted to be part of the solution. That was the only words that kept coming to me. It was like, I just started getting into positive thinking, some of the manifestation stuff, and I just knew that you have to just put something out there. And all I knew was I wanted to be part of the solution, bearing in mind I am not in the slightest bit outdoorsy and hate the rain. It was not going to be in the Forestry Commission. So I was really delighted when the universe decided that it was going to be this pathway. But the bit that really always astounds me is that Yogi Bhajan, the guru of Kundalini Yoga, he says that your purpose the reason you're here, your purpose on this planet will be something that you are passionate about as a child. And if I think back to my childhood, like whenever someone fell over, it was me that was there, you know, patching them up. And in my gap year, I actually did massage and aromatherapy and Indian head massage diplomas and learned Reiki. And I had always had this fascination with crystals and color therapy. And I did a project on that in my A-levels. So this complementary therapy world has always been interesting to me. But back in 1993, it didn't really exist that much. There was acupuncture, there was physiotherapy, there was osteopathy, but not the wealth of complementary therapies that we have now. It was health and beauty, and I didn't want to go down the beauty route just to access the holistic healthcare. So it kind of feels right that it found me. And yeah, I trained in 2007, having never had a kinesiology session in my life. I was at an event and someone said they're doing kinesiology tasters upstairs, and every single hair stood up on my body. And I went upstairs and the woman said, "Do you want a taster?" And I went, "Nope, I want to sign up to a course." And I remember everyone going, "What is this kinesiology? What's it?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
I just know that I need to be doing it.
Gotta do it. And I turned up on that course on that first weekend, and it was like everything I just got it, and I knew it was what I was meant to do with my life. I actually today, having spent some time going back over the beginnings of the training, I actually sent an email to my first tutor, who I don't think teaches anymore, but to my first tutor, and actually just thanked her, because I don't think that anyone could have foresaw in 2007 that here we would be with a college and a whole new branch of kinesiology. And it's been quite the whirlwind.
Yeah, I know, if I look back at my childhood, was like, I loved playing and with like relationships, like Barbies or stories, and I am still like, when I look at the practitioner that I am, like I said this on one of the talks, is that I absolutely love the physical, the nutritional. I'm so interested in it, but the emotional stuff, the relationship stuff, is the thing that gives me the goosebumps. It's the thing that, and it so taps into what I thoroughly enjoyed doing as a girl, and what the worlds that I used to create were all relationship based. And so that's and I was the same. I think, like, when I discovered kinesiology through you, I'd trained in nutrition and I was fascinated with it, but it was just I was just hitting my head against a brick wall, because I had this knowledge, but no application. There was such a missing. I think nutritional therapy is slightly different these days, particularly with the lab testings, which is some of the stuff that we covered in one of the talks. But back in 2005, nutritional therapy was a very different beast. And when I came to see you for a session, you were like, "I've got this wonderful spangled, look at this." And I was like, you can have a conversation with the body and find out what the body needs. Oh my God, I must know more. And that's how I discovered it. You were doing it. I wanted to do it. And here we are.
Literally defines our friendship. Claire's up to mischief.
What are you doing? I'm going to do it too. It's to death.
all helps loads of people with their health. Yeah. I think the thing that initially I loved so much about it was, as you've touched on, we have the B's, so the biochemical, the emotional, the electrical, and the structural. And I really had come through as an energy therapist, Reiki, crystals, color. I'd come through, that realm, and then the fact that there was this biochemistry link, and the fact that there was this structural link, but I didn't have to go off and become a physiotherapist and osteopath. It was like, wow, there are muscles in the body that actually tell us what's going on, and there are symptoms. And I remember at the time, this was quite in the early days of sort of iPhones, wasn't it? But I was like, kinesiology is like an iPhone, because anything that's wrong, we've got an app for it. Like, someone comes in and you're like,
the Google of therapies.
It really is. And having, like, now writing our foundation course, it's like the most random things that you go, oh yeah, conjunctivitis, upper traps.
That'll be your neck.
Wow. That'll be your neck. Wow. And it just blew my mind that it was so specific, so specific. Like, you got this issue, this is the muscle. And it blew my mind.
I had a conversation with Michelle earlier about the connection between the sartorius, which is the stress muscle that runs through the front of the legs, and when we're stressed, that muscle twisting and the iliac rotation that happens off the back of that stress that then puts the ileocecal valve out, which makes digestion compromised. And she went, oh my God. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's that bringing together of all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle for me, which just make it truly glorious and gorgeous. And if I'm honest, the structural stuff, it never floated my boat. I also didn't think that the nutrition stuff floated my boat because I wasn't particularly interested in nutrition. I was an energy therapist and emotions and energy, because I'd done things like EFT. That's where I was. That's absolutely where I was. And what's so fascinating is I could not be more of a biochemistry nerd now and a nutrition nerd, because now this understanding of how that nutrition shifts and changes the body. If I want to be well, no, I'm not going to eat this. And yes, I'm going to supplement that. It was such a game changer for me. And what I love so much about this therapy is you can go down any rabbit hole you want. You can go as esoteric as you want. You can go as energetic as you want. You can go as structural as you want. You can go as biochemical as you want. It's all there for the taking. And what I love particularly about the training that we've put together is we have got such fantastic protocols so that whatever comes in the room, you go, I've got a real app for that. Like, I haven't just got a muscle, I've got a muscle, I've got technique, I've got nutrition, I've got emotional stuff, I've got structural stuff, I've got everything for whatever comes in the room. And if, as a practitioner, I'm epically interested in structure, I can go off and do my own research and find how that layers on. And if I'm extra interested in the electrical aspect, I can go off and, maybe add on acupuncture. It's not it's this or that situation. Kinesiology becomes the most beautiful umbrella, doesn't it? For every now and again, I have to get out a crystal because I can just feel someone's chakras are off. Every now and again, it's like, every now and again, I get someone coming in with a bad hip and I'm like, got to get the structural toolkit out. And I love that. I love that because it's just so diverse. And I'm really fickle and I get bored really easily. So the fact that 15 years later, here I am more passionate about it than the day I started is testament to how incredible a career it is.
Oh, me too. And I think this is one of the beauties of this is the way you just describe it. Kinesiology, because there is so much involved, we have really seen training pathways that have been very overwhelming. And so when we designed our training pathway, we made sure that we focus in on the key areas. So blood sugars, stress, hormones, digestion, immune system, and then the emotions, the emotional coaching over the top. So yes, kinesiology, if you really want to get deep into, I don't know, knee conditions or something, you can. And there is a kinesiology out there that can offer that. However, for there to be a pathway for those 5 areas that really offered protocols that would be able to answer those 5 areas, that is how we designed functional kinesiology, so that it doesn't become overwhelming, so that you do have this rich toolbox, but you really have a focus.
Yeah. And hey, guess what? Knee problems, digestion, stress, hormones.
Oh yeah, if you want to specialize in knees, then you need to do all the 5.
You need to do the 5, and they're so connected, and that is the beauty. It is absolute genius, and I am immensely proud of our work. And I know you and I both have the same affliction right now, which is we're so excited by life that sometimes I just can't sleep, because I'm just so proud of the work that we've created, and watching our students go through this process, and that we've proved the theory that less is more, that by focusing they're helping more people, and watching them, and students who have trained in other kinesiologies going, I wish I'd found you first, because this makes so much sense, because we've not really got rid of anything, we've just focused it. So it's so simple. And they're sort of going, really? do I not have to faff? No, you don't have to faff around for another 20 minutes. You could if you want, but this is what you're doing with the issues that this person has brought you. So yeah, I'm deeply, deeply proud, and this realization that we've actually created this incredible legacy, and you know, the amount of people that we're touching is really humbling.
That's great, isn't it? Can you talk me through like a day in the life of a kinesiologist? What do you do? Like,
You
what,
do.
what happens there?
So that's a really good question. So we both have our individual clinics, don't we? So there are many ways. I think we can work as kinesiologists. We can be in clinic. We can be teaching. We can be mentors for other students. We and other different like we do a lot of things like sharing circles and bits and pieces like that. So those the emotional tools come in there. But if you're a day in clinic, then what's so beautiful about this is you can absolutely work your diary to suit you. So you can work around childcare, you can work around, you know, anything that you want to work around. You can work till, you know, late o'clock if you want to, but you don't have to.
I used to, pre-children, I used to go like 10 people in a day. Let's go. Right, we're on. After children, no, I plan my diary quite differently.
Yeah, and for me, I used to do that when I was in a marriage I didn't like.
All right.
And now I'm like, oh, I've got some gaps in the day. Brilliant. I'm going to go for a bike ride. So yeah, absolutely. You can plan your diary exactly according to how you want to live your life, and obviously how much you want to earn, and you get to set your prices. And that's the beauty of this work. Is I think we've always said that you are working part-time for a full-time salary. Obviously, that does take a little while to build up, but even right at the beginning, when we were charging foundation prices, we were still like, and not having even that many clients, even with a little part-time job on the side, it was like, oh my gosh, this is really good money. And it's not, I mean, obviously money is important, it's never been the driver for me, but it's what I mean by it's good. What's so great about it being good money is it feels like it's such a rewarding exchange of our time, doesn't it? Not only has someone left the clinic being really helped, being really empowered, you've got the warm feeling, fuzzy feeling because you've helped someone, but actually you're getting some really decent money in return. Like this is, you know, that it's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling. So I these days tend to see sort of, well, anything between sort of 5 and 8 clients in a day, and with breaks in between. And sometimes I just actually like to bash them all out back to back and have a big gap in the morning. So that's kind of what a day looks like.
And what would a session look like?
Oh, well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because it's different with every kinesiologist. So I'm very, very emotionally based. So my clients do tend to get quite a big chunk at the beginning of the session where we have a big sort of coaching part where we are talking about what's going on in their life. I start to drill down on things that I'm hearing and, you know, any cognitive dissonance, things that I'm going, that doesn't sound authentic. And we start unpicking it and having questions. That takes a while to build rapport to get to that point. And then they'll be, you know, scooched over to the kinesiology couch. And then obviously the testing, depending on what their symptoms are, what's come up, what actually they want working on. And what's so beautiful is, I think when you've had clients for a while, some of them come in with their shopping list, don't they? Like, check my nutrition, and if we could do that, if we could do those colour cards, and if you could, I need you to put my ICV back in because I had a spicy curry. So they come in and they tell you what their checklist is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's so beautiful about the training pathway that we have created is that we teach our students a process in clinic. So you'll start by having that conversation with your client. Okay, where are we at? And they'll be giving you things that they want to work on. Maybe they've got some digestive pain, or they've got a knee pain, or they've fallen out with their husband, or whatever. So they come with, and that conversation is usually, right, okay, you give me this big list of things. What's the priority for you?
Yeah.
Where do you want us to focus? And then we can do
or you've given me this big list of things. Do you know that actually boils down to one thing?
Yes. Let's focus in on that. And then when we get them on the couch, then we do what's the word I'm thinking of? It's like an investigation stage where we are testing muscles and finding out the priorities in the body. Okay, so where are the unlocking muscles? Where are the imbalances? We work with the Chinese model of where's the over energies, where's the under energies, and we map it using the 5-element model, which is a glorious sort of structure, a process that holds us in our clinic. And then when we found the priorities, then we find the nutrition. And then we can maybe do some techniques, and that involves, could be an emotional technique, or it could be a structural technique, depending on what is testing priority, what is going on in the body. And then we finish with okay, right, we need to talk about diet again. And we can do some food sensitivity testing as well, which is great. It's usually an add-on that we do at the end of our sessions, just to get we're very passionate about food sensitivity testing. It's a big core part of the foundation training as well as the practitioner training. But we do have that conversation with our client about, so you mentioned that, you know, wheat has come back into your diet, and we can see that this is like switching the body off. This is the glorious thing about muscle testing, is you can absolutely show what is working for the body and what is not working for the body. And then we have our homework sheets that we tell our clients that, right, this is what we recommend, and off you go, and we will book you back in. Now, I tend to see, if I'm doing some big emotional work, I like to see people sometimes on a weekly basis or every fortnight. If they're coming for something, say, digestive, or they're wanting to improve their hormones, I like to see them probably monthly. I don't know if you're the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think one of that was also what you've just described, the way that we created the training with that sort of testing, the investigative, the application, and the sort of summary. That was also something that I found missing from a lot of training. It was kind of like, well, one of the hardest things actually when you first get into clinic is getting yourself into sort of like that hour and 15. That's really challenging.
I remember.
It's really tough. And so we have, right from the word go, been teaching our students about this, how to get that timing right. And that's why we've chunked that time down. So, you know, the only reason why I'll spend 20 minutes at the beginning is because I know I'm a super speedy tester, and I'm so honed in on what I'm going to be testing, all the techniques. And actually, if this client comes in, they've got loads of physical stuff going on, we're not going to be doing that big emotional talk. And this is the beauty, this sort of flow. I mean, I've got clients that will come in one week for the physical work and another week for the emotional work, and you rotate it. So you get to be really all inclusive with how you're supporting someone. And it's great.
So the next question I've got for you, is it hard to train in?
Do you know what's funny? Because I did a podcast with one of our old students who went, I put my hat off to you. It's the hardest thing I've ever trained in. I was like, oh, thanks. That's really not a very good advert.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Yes and no. And let's be really honest. What's challenging about it is there are lots of different elements. It's like learning to drive. It's not like I'm just going to sit on a bike and pedal and maybe learn a few sort of like little gears there. It's like full on, now I'm learning to drive, and there are other things throwing themselves at me, and now there's a radio on, and people are talking to me. It's that is the situation when you're first learning kinesiology. Muscle testing is incredibly simple to learn, and it takes a long time to master, but it's incredibly simple to learn, and you will have wins from the get-go. But to really become fluid and trust your testing and test with grace and ease, that takes time. That's just, that's one of the things I love about it as a skill, is it evolves with you. Yes, there's a lot to learn, but we have also taken that into consideration, and we have created our training to be a layering experience, as opposed to just here's a massive dump of information and wade through it. So we really have considered that and factored it into our training. Yeah, there is a lot to learn, but it all makes sense, because when you think about it, you are basically learning how to be a nutritionist, work with the acupuncture meridians and Chinese 5 element theory. You're learning structure, and you're learning emotional processing all in one go. And then, so like that, learning to drive a car, and then you're actually having to talk to the client and keep your eye on the time and then do all the things. So yes, but you have got time, and there is mastery. And it took me about a year from the moment I graduated to realize it was coming with real grace and ease. I wasn't using my textbook, and I didn't have to think about it.
It is something that we teach our students, to allow the process to happen, because there is a lot to learn. It's fascinating.
Fascinating.
And it's also, it's why we have the results that we do with the clients that we do, because no stone goes unturned. So it's been interesting for me to speak to other practitioners who are very quick to refer on, because they, maybe if they're doing something structurally and an emotional issue comes up, then they refer on. Now, as a kinesiologist, because your toolbox is wider, because you have so many different techniques and tools in your toolbox, that when an emotion comes up, you are able to walk that through with your client. Now, I agree. I was about the same. I was about a year in clinic before, like, I didn't have to keep checking my book, but it's a learning process. And like, we have been doing this career for 10-15 years, and I'm still passionate about it. I'm still learning about it. I'm still interested in it. And so, and I'm the same as you. I get bored quite quickly, and I love new. I love learning. And kinesiology is what we say to our students is, allow, it's like doing a degree, allow those 3 years, because the training itself can be done within 18 months, but allow yourself the time to let things land, learn it, be in clinic, have your case studies, have your prices at a lower price point, so that you can see more people, so that you can practice muscle testing, because muscle testing on one person is different from muscle testing on another. And so when you've muscle tested 50 billion people like we have done, then you just know. And it is, I really like what you said about it, mastering it. When you actually master kinesiology, it is just the best.
Oh, it is literally learning a new language. So that would be like saying, is it hard to learn Italian? Is it hard? Yes, of course it is. It's a whole new part of our brain. But when you master it, and it just comes with grace and ease, and it flows. The other thing is, we have taken that into consideration. So in terms of how we examine our students, it's not all based on the exam, which it is in a lot of kinesiologies and a lot of complementary therapies, to be fair. It is the marks are split between case studies, homework, the exam, and a clinical assessment. So it's not, for people who really struggle with exams, it's not, the be all and end all. It's just one of the ways. And the reason that we kept an exam in there is because we had to do that cramming and the revising. And I know for a fact that the stuff I crammed and revised is in there in the recesses of my menopausal memory. But the stuff that we've added on since, it's not there. And so there's something called acupuncture holding points. I have done those 3,000 times. Every single day I'm in clinic, I have to check them, because they didn't form a big part of our original learning. And so that for me is just absolutely valid, that when you're in that open learning space, that is the purpose of having an exam, because when you're revising it and you take it in, it just becomes part of the core of who you are as a practitioner.
Yeah. So my other question is, it a professional qualification?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Hell yes.
Hell yes, it is. And I think everyone in complementary therapy, there is a lot of speculation around our industry, and we can spend an awful lot of time still trying to ward off a lot of the "you're a charlatan" kind of views. And I've had that a lot over the years, which is, let's be honest about it, it's nothing more than the medieval witch hunts still around. And so a lot of people are really scared about.
We've had a troll this week, haven't we?
We have. And a lot of people are really scared about going into this career, because it's not medical, and it's different. And as a very well-known senior consultant gastroenterologist said to me, if only complementary medicine would stop trying to be the medical world, because vive la difference, it's the difference that makes you so brilliant. And I was like, huh. And I remember at the time going, oh, that's quite annoying, because I was looking for more credibility, more credibility. And we have absolutely done that at Functional Kinesiology. We work very hard to get credibility. So we are registered with the CNHC. It comes up to the National Occupational Standards. It is recognised by not just one, but two governing bodies and insured. So yes, absolutely, this is a professional qualification. I mean, I'm 14, 15 years in, having seen thousands of clients that started at college. This is a professional, I don't know how much more professional you want to be.
Oh yeah.
I know people with degrees who haven't been that professional. So yes, it's absolutely a professional qualification, and we've worked very hard to research and source all of the material that we teach.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's all my questions. Have you got anything else that, from being a kinesiologist, is there anything else that you think a student should know about doing this as a job or a career or a passion?
Yeah, one of the things that's great about it is you don't have to work face-to-face with people in clinic. You can work remotely, and your skills are transferable. So by the time you learn kinesiology, which is the in-depth training, it is the creme de la creme of the training that we offer in the College of Functional Wellness. But you can then basically become a nutritional coach if you don't want to even do the kinesiology. If you just kind of learn it but go, no, that bit's not for me, then your skills transfer over to being able to do emotional or nutritional coaching remotely. So I describe this as, let's just talk about our functional wellness coaching course for a moment. I describe it as, you could go to Jigsaw and buy a really well cut suit that you then take to a seamstress and have adapted to make it fit. That would be the functional wellness coaching. It's incredibly that, you know, when we're teaching people how to recommend a magnesium, we're breaking down which ones so carefully that it becomes a very easy checklist for them to follow. Kinesiology is having that suit made from scratch. That's the thing, it's completely bespoke. And so the great thing is, training in kinesiology, you can reduce, you know, those skills are transferable, they're downgradable to become that wellness coach or the emotional coach. But the beauty is you can go anywhere with it, and that is what's so exciting. It's just a platform. So you can either become a full, you know, kinesiologist working with the hormones, digestion, immune, blood sugars, pretty much, you know, the carbon copy of what we've done in our careers, or you can go anywhere. It's just a doorway.
I love the way that your brain works, that you see this as clothes. I just think it's genius, but it explains it so beautifully, is how we developed functional kinesiology, and then we really recognized that not everybody wants to do the kinesiology side, but the actual the nutrition, hormone, digestion, immune picture, they wanted to add that into maybe an existing business, or to just focus in on that, and the actual muscle testing wasn't for them. And so that's why we've got the two offerings.
And I also want to say that kinesiology, the foundation course, isn't just for kinesiologists. It is the most, I have taught GPs, I have taught nutritionists, I have taught PTs, I've taught acupuncturists, I've taught homeopaths, I've taught, you know, therapists of every other modality that foundation course, because they just want the muscle testing and the muscle understanding, this muscle organ meridian connection. They want that understanding to be able to move forward in their work. So, you know, a PT constantly trying to get you to strengthen your hamstrings and they're not strengthening. Well, guess what? Underneath that is probably a large intestine issue, but just battering away at that large intestine, or a physiotherapist just giving you stretches for that quad. It's not going to do it unless you know how to switch that muscle on, unless you know how to feed that muscle nutritionally, and unless you know what foods to avoid nutritionally. So just the foundation course alone is a massive game changer.
Love it. I love it. I love it. And I love working with you. So thank you for being my last speaker on my open day. It's been a brilliant, brilliant day. So if you've only seen this talk, then please check out the collection on YouTube. We've got a number of different talks from both of our open days, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. Bye.